12 lakh, 12 lakh, 12 lakh. That's the only thing. I was waiting for something to come. And there was nothing. What was the biggest miss in the budget? Anybody can tell me. What was the biggest miss which you think should have been mentioned? And I was really waiting for something there to be discussed. It did not come only. Biggest miss. Two big misses. Absolutely two big misses from my side. Kshitij can add up maybe. But yeah.
I feel there are a couple of things which were missed. So, number one was here we are talking about nuclear energy. हम बात कर रहे हैं कि how do we increase the infrastructure, how do we improve roads. We did not talk about waste management.
Are we like that?
We did not talk about pollution. We did not talk about defense at all. कुछ भी नहीं था defense के बारे में. Apart from increasing the budget, obviously.
What else?
Apart from that, on the
let them
medical
answer.
side, yeah.
What do you guys think is the big miss? Very big. Every year this happens. Every year there is something about the budget for these topics. This time it was not there. I really felt this was like, where is it gone? I'll tell you the biggest miss. Infrastructure. No conversation. I was like, where is infrastructure gone? Buildings, railways, bridges, this, that, ports. There was very limited, money spent, talked about, no discussion on it at all. And that was such a disappointment for me. So not discussed at all. What was the other miss? Another big miss from my side was environment. Nothing on environment. Apart from making EVs cheaper and talking about some level of rationalization for EVs, there is nothing in the budget about environment, pollution, clean air, clean drinking water, cleanliness, hygiene, nothing.
They forgot Swachh Bharat.
They forgot Swachh Bharat. Does not exist. It's out of the minds. I felt that the budget literally was only two things. Taxation, 12 lakh, and Bihar. The budget was only these two things. So there was nothing exceptional in the budget. The primary impetus to an economy is government expenditure. And if you're going to spend on this, we're going to spend on this, we're going to spend. The government saying we're going to spend on nothing. The government literally in this budget said we're going to spend on nothing. We're just going to not tax you more. So we're going to spend less and tax you less. By taxing you less, I'm just going to give you disposable income. Probably you can just spend so that you can have a GDP growth, but not a stock market growth, so to say. So stock market is not related as much. It only is contributed 3 to 4% is contributed by middle class income group up to 12 lakh rupees, and others even within the middle class income group, which is salaried income group, who are contributing to stock market. Most of them will contribute through SIPs. SIPs do not change based on the stock market. They are not trading live. None of them are trading live. So you will not see any middle income group person's impact on the stock market. So this impact is not there. So whatever decline you are seeing is because of the other sectors and other traders. Now, the only reason why it could have had some level of impact was, give me one reason, positive side for the stock market. One very positive side of the stock market could have been. Okay, can you explain the stock market to say 3 to 4% middle class income group? What is the rest of 95%, 96% of the stock market? HNIs? How much will that be? About 15-20%. So 20% there. The remaining 75% almost is shared between institutional investors and foreign institutional investors and FDIs. Okay. So FDIs, institutional investors, HNIs and retail middle income groups. Middle income group 3 to 4%. HNIs 15-20%. So 25% gone. Then remaining is almost equally split between 30-40%, 30-40% between the two other groups. So imagine that institutional investors and foreign investors impact your market. What is the news for these two people? These two sets.
increase FDI investment in insurance.
Beautiful. That was the only positive that we could have had in the stock market, and that's the only positive situation that we can probably consider. Any other positive impacts? No. Alright, Chalo, I think so. Let's get back to the first point of tax calculations. Okay, most important. Kshitij, you want to go about doing this discussion? And
Right. So one thing which we have done is now it is comparatively easier to remember all the tax rates. Brackets of 4 lakhs with 5% increment. Right. 30% bracket is now shifted to 24 above 24 lakhs. It's a good thing. Right. Apart from that, there is a standard deduction on salary, which is the same 75,000. 87A rebate has been increased to 60,000. But there is only one thing which is off about this. 87A wala rebate is not applicable on special tax rates income now, right? Earlier it was. Now only salary wala ko milega, number one, and your business and profession wala income, right? So let's move ahead. So let's say earlier what used to happen was till FY 24-25, right? What used to happen was, let's say if I have an income of 7,75,000. I get a standard deduction of 75k. My net taxable income is 7 lakhs, on which I can get a 87A wala rebate, right? What is a 87A rebate? What does it say? It says that you don't have to pay tax if your net taxable income is up to 7 lakhs and your tax is less than 25,000, right? So the actual tax amount or 25,000, whichever is less, you get the rebate, right? What is happening? So the big question, zero tax on INR 12 lakhs. Is it true? Let's move ahead with this. So the hot question, let's say if I have an income of 12.75 lakhs, salary income, I get a standard deduction. My net taxable income is 12 lakhs, on which there is as per the new regime, basis this calculation. So my tax liability comes out to be 60,000, right? Plus 4% cess. I get a 87A rebate on this. So what have they changed? They just have changed the amount from 7 lakhs to 12 lakhs and 25,000 to 60,000, right? So the clauses are, if my net taxable income is up to 12 lakhs, right? And my tax is up to, my tax liability is less than 60,000, I get a flat rebate of the tax liability. Right, so I don't have to pay any taxes if I am earning 12.75 lakhs as salary.
but मैं इसमें एक बहुत मजेदार बात बताता हूँ. जब निर्मला सीतारमण was delivering the speech, she made it so confusing for everybody to understand that it was crazy. She said, okay, there will be no tax for people earning up to 12 lakh rupees. However, she said, as compared to the old regime, this is a benefit of 80,000. So I was like, 80,000, but the total tax liability is only 60,000. So there are two changes. One is a tax slab change, and there is an 87A change. So the total computation is, okay, if you are paying the taxes as per new regime of the last year, then you would have paid a tax of 80,000, which no longer would be required to be paid, and entire 80,000 will be now zero. But that will be split between 20,000 of the tax slab change and 60,000 of the rebate. So split that into two parts. So rebate is 60,000, 20,000 is because of tax slab change. 4 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 to 14, sorry, 12 to 16, 16 to 20, 20 to 24. So that's the biggest understanding gap. We fought for almost half an hour. We kept on reading because then she said, so 12 lakh, you get an advantage of 80,000. Then she said, if you have an income of 18 lakhs, then you get a benefit of 70,000. Like, where is the 70,000 coming from? So that's the comparison between last time to this time, and that's how people are building those tables. So you're now seeing tables circulating in all the circles. Are you getting those tables? Videos? Yeah. Instagram? Yeah. What happened? This is what is the explanation. But yes, this is the right explanation to have this understanding. Yes.
Right. So as per the new tax regime, let's say I have an income of 13 lakhs, salary income, right? I get a standard deduction. So my net taxable income, it now crosses 12 lakhs and it's 12.25 lakhs now. What happens is that my tax liability increases by 3,750 rupees. What will I get? I will do not. I won't get that 87 rebate. I'll only get marginal tax relief, right?
What is marginal tax relief?
Good. So, anyone wants to answer? What is marginal tax relief? Anyone?
मार्जिनल टैक्स रिलीफ होती है कि जितनी आपकी इनकम बढ़ी अगर उससे ज़्यादा आपको टैक्स पे करना पड़ता है तो रिलीफ हो जाती है.
Correct. So let's say in this case, अब हुआ क्या है? My income is increased by 25,000.
Or tax liability is increased by 63,000.
Yes, from 0 to 63. It's not fair, right? So the difference over and above 25,000, which is basically what I get as marginal relief.
So जब तक ये taxable amount और incremental increase of income बराबर नहीं हो जाते, तब तक marginal tax relief मिलता रहता है. Are we getting it now? Clear?
Anyone who did not get what is marginal relief?
Understood? Will you be able to now calculate? 30 lakhs, what will be the number? 13 lakh, not this one, non-salaried. Okay? If this was no standard deduction, this would be 13 lakhs. What will be the taxation? 20, 40, and this would be more.
1 lakh.
1 pay 15%, 15,000. So 40, 50, 60, 75,000. 75,000 taxes, increment of 1 lakh non-salaried. What will be your tax payable? 75,000. So you pay full 75,000 because your incremental income is more than the tax liability. So technically, by earning 12 lakh and 13 lakh, you really get a benefit of only 25,000. Your salary would technically be only 25,000 extra. You'll get the same amount of money. Okay? Yes.
So we've already spoken. This is already covered. So let's go to Bihar now.
But have you understood the entire tax liability structure? It has become simple. I think good part about the new regime is it does not have all the chuck, itna clutter, this deduction, that deduction, all of those things. Flat numbers, very simple, easy, remember, calculate and get your numbers out. So it is that simple a calculation. But this is the next highlight of the budget, which is called Budget Bihar. What is the most interesting thing about this budget? About Bihar? I found two things very exciting, very interesting. It is written on the board, you have to just think about which one would be the most interesting part of this. Sorry? Out of this or any other thing? See, entire middle class again, Bihar is a huge population with that set of income people, right? So that's also there. It's a pro Bihar budget. Okay, my bigger question is why this?
Bihar election,
Sorry? It's not working?
No.
Still not like. What is wrong?
इसमें तो चल
ऐसे थोड़ी होगा. It's stuck. See?
वो लिंक पे नहीं चल रहा है.
अरे तो फिर कैसे चलेगा?
डायरेक्ट लाइव है.
अरे डायरेक्ट लाइन में तो क्या लिंक पे कैसे जाएंगे? फिर
लिंक
हाउ?
प्रॉब्लम कर रहा है, लिंक पे नहीं जा रहा है, डायरेक्ट लाइव.
So everybody is checking through the link only, na? Then what do you do with the link then? Can we put a chat there and say please go to GCC channel? Can you put a text message there?
नो सर बिकॉज़ मेरा फोन ऑलरेडी इज.
नहीं तो किसी और के फोन से डाल दो ना. Can you put a text message there at the live channel point saying that please join the GCC channel? Give a different link if you want. There can't be any link only. Why? GCC channel पे GCC channel का link दे दो ना YouTube का. So that is a link, right? Change of link ही तो है. Okay. So what was the most interesting thing about Bihar budget? Yes. I was excited about this. This is the most interesting thing. And probably India is the largest producer of makhanas in the world. 90% makhanas of the world are produced in India. And makhana, the health benefits are now being explored. So this is going to be like a very, very big thing for the country, where you're trying to say fox nuts will be produced in India, exported in India. Probably why not make it like a large big thing? Superfood, right? So super health food. We might probably find this. So there are 2-3 interesting foods that the government or the Indian economy. Guar, basmati rice, makhanas, oats, soya. All of these are like amazing foods that you can have. But why was it supposed to be Bihar?
Bihar election.
Why?
Sorry?
We have Bihar election in September.
We have Bihar elections coming, and it is not a pure BJP government.
Coalition government.
It's a coalition government. If you do not give something to Bihar, people would not say that government is supporting Bihar, right? So Bihar was not, Bihar had to be highlighted, but it was too much of Bihar for me. I was like, everything that they spoke about, it started with agriculture, then it started talking about MSME, then started talking about other things. It was very poorly done in terms of saying Bihar, everywhere it was Bihar, 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 agriculture, Bihar, MSME, Bihar, EVs, Bihar, this is what Bihar, everything was Bihar, so this is Bihar. Airport, Bihar, Koshi Canal, Bihar, capacity at IIT Patna, but this is across all, but yeah. Kisan credit card limit, again, 38 lakh farmers, and National Institute of Food Technology, Entrepreneurship and Management also in Bihar. So a lot of things happening in Bihar, which means, start thinking that, see the power shift, the tourism shift. It is no longer Rajasthan, it is UP, right? Banaras, Allahabad, Prayagraj, Ayodhya. We're talking about all of these places now as the tourism centers, and then the power shift happening to Bihar, where economic centers in Bihar, food production, technology, all of this coming down to Bihar. So I think we are seeing this change happening at the national level in the national geography, with the political and the economic situations changing. So yeah, that's it. This is very interesting. This is a change which is the MSME definition. How does it change your life at all? Do you understand what is MSME? Micro, small, medium enterprises. Okay. Now the definition of MSME has been changed, and you get benefits based on this. So if you are a micro enterprise, you get a different set of benefits. If you are a small enterprise, you get a different set of benefits. What they have done is they've changed the calculations and saying micro enterprise is now an enterprise with a turnover of 10 crores or an investment of 2.5 crores. Small enterprise has gone to 100 crores. So imagine 11 crores to 100 crores is now a small enterprise. Do you realize how Indian economy has shifted the definition in the last 5 to 7 years? Micro and small medium enterprises, this number used to be somewhere at 1 crore. From 1 crore, we have come to 10 crores in a matter of 5 years. So we are trying to say micro enterprises. Suddenly, you were doing you're doing a turnover of 7 crores. You are a happy small enterprise. Suddenly, you are a micro enterprise. No more, right? You are doing a happy turnover of 50-60 crores. You're probably a medium enterprise. Suddenly you are no longer a medium enterprise, you are a small enterprise. And you will actually be treated differently. Which reflects something very interesting for the economy. Good and bad. First say good. What is the good? It reflects that we are growing. Business size is increasing. Okay? It is larger businesses, larger size, they're expanding, and they're expanding at this pace that you have to change the definition of your micro, small, medium enterprises so that you can capture them collectively in that format. What is bad? This is leading to concentration of power in the hands of few large organizations. Okay? They want to keep large organizations separate and the others separate. And they want to say 500 crores, you're small, you're medium only, you're no longer big, which means that you want to keep them at at some distance, you say you're no longer a large organization, you're still a small organization. And that's the definition change that they're trying to do, which kind of reflects a concentration of power in the hands of you to me. But otherwise, sounds like a good, interesting thing which has happened. The rest is simple. There's a credit card with 5 lakh limit for micro enterprises registered. You guys usually go to Udyam portal, right? And you also can go to the Startup India portal. If at all you want to start a startup, you can go to Startup India, you can go to Udyam, you can just register. The cost is what, 600 rupees, 1000 rupees, that's it. Just set up and you are a registered startup right away. Pretty good, right? So that's it. This is interesting for us, right? This is interesting for anybody who's trying to do business. There's going to be a 10,000 crore fund to support early stage ventures. And it's going to be a fund of funds. Do you understand what is fund of funds? What does that mean? What is a fund of funds? What is a fund of funds?
A fund which itself invests in another fund.
So government is not going to directly give the money. Government is going to give the money to other funds, and those funds will in turn disperse the money, is the plan. At the moment also this is what is happening. So all AICs, all ACICs, all venture funds which are supported by the government does not give money to any startup directly. It would always invest through other funds. So it will give the money to, let's say, DST. DST will create a fund. That fund will disperse the money in a particular way, and it will be a fund of funds. It will not be a direct payment. For all other cases, government pays money directly. Okay. 20,000 crores fund of AI, quantum computing, and semiconductor research. This is good. So I like this part a lot. First time, government is saying let's spend a good amount of money on research. Wow, I think this is where we're going to be. At least technology-enabled funding, good research projects. There is enough money now available by the government on research projects. And if at all you want to do this, a lot of people are getting funded, a lot of people are getting paid. So we are reaching that stage where if you're doing a PhD, you get paid by the government, right? And in this country, PhD is no longer an expense; it has started becoming revenue stream for people. So there are people who are getting 1 lakh rupees, 2 lakh rupees just to pursue PhD in a top institution in the country, and that's good. So that's where it is coming. Extension of timeline for tax benefits. I think this has been a very big disaster. I think it has been horrible. None of the startups are able to get the benefits as are envisaged. They're supposed to get a 5-year tax holiday, by the way. It's a 5 years you pay no taxes. Startups don't get it. Startups are not able to get that benefit. They go to the government refuses. On no pretext, I mean, there is no specific reason. They are just saying, oh, you don't fit into this, you don't fit into this, you're not qualified, you're not whatever qualified. So you're registering startups in numbers. So you have multiple thousands of startups that you're boasting of. But the benefit that you're giving on this scheme is limited to a few hundreds. It is that small a number. So you're talking of 80,000, let's say startups registered on the government portal, and talking of 800, 900 startups getting tax exemption. So this is a poor mismanagement of the government. This is more like a sham. This is nothing happening on this side. Okay. Extension of incorporation by 5 years of startup. This is signed 2030. The scheme is going to go on, and that's what is happening. For 5 lakh first time entrepreneurs, term loan up to 2 crore during next 5 years. I don't know. I hope this happens. Still debatable. We are still contemplating and doubting whether this is happening or not. But this is what is the expectation, that they're offering some loans to new time startups. This is interesting. So education is going to go very interesting. Atal Tinkering Labs, 50,000 new labs in schools. So 50,000 schools. This has already crossed the lakh schools, adding 50,000 more labs in the next 5 years. This is going to be the most interesting part for me. I think this was the most important conversation. Broadband connectivity in all schools. What do you think would mean this?
Wi-Fi.
Yes, Wi-Fi. Which means what are we talking about? Digital education. We're talking of schools becoming epicenters of technology centers. They have already started announcing tech libraries in schools. So people can just come and plug and play centers. They might start using this as what do you used to call them? Cyber cafes. You might probably get a school like a cyber cafe. Go walk in, use the internet, come out. free broadband available.
I think digital education has failed miserably in India.
Yes, yes. Digital education has failed. People still like to go to school and colleges and study. But, and I was there in another event like just 2 days back, and we were discussing what the future of education looks like. And we were very, very sure that colleges are there to stay. Because you don't go to college just for education. You also go for experiences. You go for networking, you go for connections, you go for understanding, you go for, better relationships. You get a lot of experiential learning out of studying together, companions. You probably get group studies, you get, group projects, group activities, and all of that is very, very interesting. So, if they're talking of broadband connectivity in all government schools, then we're talking of something very, very different here. We're talking that schools will become superpowered. We're trying to talk about students having phone access in schools sooner or later. In the next 5-7 years, we'll probably have schools allowing phones or allowing laptops, and all children carrying laptops to schools. Future vision. At least 10 years from now, I can vision this. And 10 years from now, we might have a very different world. The way we have it today here in this college, probably we might see this in a Sarkari school. Same thing. Every student going with a laptop, walking and saying, broadband. Let's open the laptop and start studying. I don't know. Sounds very different.
I think only one thing where we lack. There is no such reform for government colleges.
Yes.
Yeah.
10,000 additional seats in medical, great. Center of Excellence in Artificial Intelligence, great. 5 national centers of excellence for skilling to be set up. This is with public-private partnership. Sounds interesting. Skills will be required, and skilling is a very big gap in the country. So skilling gap बहुत ज़्यादा है इस समय पे. Education institutions have failed to provide jobs, and they're not meeting the world and the job market demands and requirements, and that's a very sad state of affairs. So there's over excess of supply of untrained, non-smart candidates and very few takers. So that's the gap which will be filled through skilling. I don't know how much, but that's the vision. Okay. Power, infra, tourism, agri. I think this is okay. Let's skip this part and let's come to just move on. These are standard things which have been written, mentioned. So this is the way this has been mentioned. My problem still remains scientific development. It's still low. Scientific department is still the lowest. Energy is still low. Commerce industry is still low. Social welfare is low. For me, urban development, rural development. See the difference. Rural development is so high. So the focus this time was rural, right? Bihar, middle income group. So this was like a pleasers budget. Please the people. I wish they would have come out with this budget before the elections of the union budget previous time. They would have got a much better results in the elections. Seriously, I feel so. I don't know why this time. Of course, the only reason why this time, anybody can explain the rationale for doing this now. Sorry? No, Bihar elections is one part. So they need to do Bihar. Middle income group. Why did they do this to middle income group now?
Because the middle income group was separated mostly because of the tax burden.
And do you think government cares for it? I mean, is this how you think the government looks at things? At least in a finance budget. Oh, middle income group is struggling. Chalo, let's give them something. What are we going through is a stagnation. Pranjali, I think you should move out of the classroom. Hanji. So the question here is, why should you give middle income group some benefits now? Economics, yes.
So, concept of saturation, basically, if you give everything on a plate, you offer yourself on a plate in one go, they will attain the benefits for it for a set amount of time. But if they do it in a split manner, then they can attain the benefits in a prolonged period of time.
No, but there's nothing about splitting this.
No, as in like giving the middle class the benefits that they deserve, but not giving it all together.
No, they've given it all together. Yeah? Imagine 7 lakh to 12 lakh is a huge jump.
That is now.
So my question is, why now?
That's what I'm saying. Is they're doing it now.
हाँ
अभी जो रिजल्ट्स है उसके वजह से मतलब बहुत बीजेपी को बहुत दिक्कत होगी।
वो तो हो गया, आप तो जीत गए, अब तो अगले 5 साल बाद होगा।
कंपनसेट
So to compensate, do you really think government wants to compensate? Sorry, we made a mistake. Let's rectify it now. Is this how the government should think or would think? No, in fact, they will say, "Ab to 5 years is our Raj, chalo let's extort more money." What is it that is going on in the government's mind? Why now? What is the thought process?
Maybe they want to increase the disposable income.
Beautiful. Why do they want to increase the disposable income?
Right now they are economy.
To get this income gets floated into the economy, circulated. The more circulation means more customer demand, more consumer demand. More consumer demand would mean more GDP. More GDP would mean better comparative economic growth. Our target of 3 trillion economy. Flat, simple thought process. India is not here to fight. India is here not to get into any debate with anybody. India is not here to say I have friends with this country, that country, I am enemy with this country, that country. India does not want to get into that at all. Okay, all India wants is at this moment economic growth, and for economic growth we have stagnated. Our last quarter results are not good, and the reason, there are multiple cars now sitting unsold. Why? Because the inventory is there, people are not willing to buy. What do? You need to increase consumption demand. To increase consumption demand, you need to increase disposable income. To increase disposable income, you cut down the taxes. So the whole idea is give more income to people to spend, more disposable income. This should be followed, and I believe so, by an interest rate cut to increase the consumption in the economy. गवर्नमेंट के पास 2 ही 3 रास्ते हैं ना, आपका कंजम्पशन बढ़ाने के क्या तरीके हो सकते हैं? एक इंटरेस्ट रेट गिरा दो, तो आप डिपॉजिट में रखोगे ही, राइट? आपके डिपॉजिट अकाउंट में अगर इंटरेस्ट नहीं मिल रहा होगा तो आप बोलोगे ना लेट्स कीप इट विद मी. सो यू विल कट डाउन द इंटरेस्ट रेट एंड यू विल आल्सो कट डाउन ऑन टैक्सेस. So if you cut down on taxes, you cut down on interest rate, disposable income increases, loan offtake increases, economic growth happens. Okay, so these are classic examples and reasons. When the government will do it, I don't know. Probably this is one cut which has happened now. I don't see the interest rate cut happening immediately. The moment we again start seeing some level of flattening, the government will have another technique which is to cut down interest rates. Okay, cutting down interest rate will bring increased economic flow, money flow in the hands of customers and consumers. They'll start spending more, and that is how it's going to work. See, think about it. If the markets are not so, if fixed deposit gets you less returns, what would you do? You take it out from there and invest in stock markets or consume? That's exactly what the government wants. All right. So that's it. This is what the rupee comes from, and rupees goes out. This is very important actually. If you look at this. See, interest payments is 20% of the expenditure of the government, and borrowings is 24%. And we discussed this in the morning class today. It's okay to borrow. It's good to borrow. Why is it good to borrow? Because you never repay your debts. You're never supposed to repay them. Right? They remain with you. Till the time your economy is surviving, struggling, going fine, and is able to give better returns, but this is now becoming big. Our problem is not this. Our problem is something else. Can somebody tell me what is our problem as an economy? There's a problem that our economy is facing.
We are import dependent.
We are import dependent on fuels. सबसे बड़ा. And हमारा dollar deficits है. और हमारे पास currency deficits हैं for dollar. And then US economy is hell-bent to ensure that we use only dollar. They have forbidden us to move to another and switch to another currency, which means that for us dollar demand will be high, and we don't have dollars. We will have to struggle to get dollars. And that's exactly our India's currency problem. So India's foreign policy problems or foreign problem is not so much this and this as much as the dollar as a currency is deficit, and that's what we are struggling with. If you were Pakistan, probably this would have gone to 40-45%, and this would have been also 40-45%. So yeah, it's a very different story. Export promotion, Bharat trade. This is what you can study about. Yes, this is what I felt like. No mention of defense. So, you know why? That expenditure done, stated, not quoted in the budget talk. So speech में कोई conversation नहीं था. कर दिया, बोलिए क्या जरूरत है? बताना क्यों है? कि हम सबसे ज्यादा खर्चा तो फिर भी डिफेंस पे कर रहे हैं. Right? We are protecting our borders. We are spending this money. Let's not tell anybody about it. Right? So let's not discuss it on a public forum. Scientific research still remains unfunded. Okay, very low. Heavy reliance on borrowings, yes, 24% and 20%. So this could be cut down a bit. Nuclear power is touted while climate adaptation, waste management remains neglected. So no talks about Delhi pollution board, setting up something around this, clean air, breathable air. India has the maximum congested cities now and the most polluted cities in the world now. And we have no mention of it on our entire union budget. It is very disappointing. Right? India needs to spend heavily on managing better air quality. We will actually start breathing poison very soon. Right? So it's going to be a very, very big challenge and it's going to be unmanageable. We are not talking about it. That's going to be a very big concern for me. Certain decisions infrastructure towards rural development and urban areas, infrastructure over. There's a hidden story behind this also. And there's a political thought process also. Probably you can guess it. What would that be? They do not want other politicians to rise and become more powerful. Okay, so not all the time. They should become dependent on and stay dependent on the center, and that's another thought process that remains. But this is okay. This is simple. Why is interactive flat panel becoming this costlier? This is very bad. I am unhappy with this. So we have to spend a lot on this. The rest is okay. I think, yeah. But any last thoughts? Anything else that we have on this? Yeah. Do we have more slides?
No, I think
Yeah.
we covered insurance.
FDI limit. This was another thing that we spoke about. How many guys like it? Not like it? Should there be an FDI 100%? Yes or no? Yes. Why? बोलो बोलो. तो इंश्योरेंस में अभी तक क्यों नहीं खोला था, अभी सडनली क्यों खोल दिया? प्रॉब्लम क्या है?
फॉरेनर्स मतलब वो इन्वेस्टमेंट मार्केट आउट ऑफ इंडिया.
Are you really thinking that लोग बाहर की इंश्योरेंस लेते हैं बाहर जा करके? तो इंडिया का मनी तो बाहर नहीं जा रहा. इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज कैसे वर्क करती होंगी? इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज, मोस्ट ऑफ द इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज आर नथिंग बट टेक्निकली म्यूचुअल फंड्स, राइट? इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज का बिजनेस मॉडल क्या है? इंश्योरेंस का पैसा लो, इन्वेस्ट करो और रिटर्न दे दो. इट इज नथिंग बट दिस ना. तुम लाइफ इंश्योरेंस टर्म लेते हो तो एक तो रिस्क कवर है, एक तो फिक्स पेमेंट भी तो है 20 साल बाद, 25 साल बाद, 10 साल बाद, व्हाटएवर. इट्स अ फिक्स्ड टाइम पीरियड कवर आल्सो, which means they'll take the money. तो आप अगर LIC में 10,000 रुपए हर साल डालते हो तो वो इन्वेस्ट होके LIC में इन्वेस्ट भी करेगा और वो LIC जहां इन्वेस्ट करेगा उसके बाद वो मनी फिर एज अ रिटर्न जब आप एक टाइम फिक्स खत्म हो जाएगा या फिर आपकी कैजुअलिटी होगी, आप डेथ होगी तो आपको मिल जाएगा. These are the only two ways of payments. Now, which means insurance companies are huge investment giants. उनके पास बहुत पैसा होता है इन्वेस्ट करने. What is the implication of this happening? What is going to happen? Where would the money come from? Where would be the maximum number of insurance companies in the world? सबसे ज्यादा इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज कहां पे होंगी? यूएस में. Finance. This clause, in my opinion, is to please US. It is purely and purely to keep Trump happy. That's how it is. There is no need to let our insurance go into a foreign country, right? What is the guarantee that that company will not go bankrupt, or can you control that? Is government anywhere? So if you take an insurance of a company which is not Indian, your government is technically giving you no assurance now. If this was LIC, for example, government owned, if LIC fails, government is bound to take care of that company. But if this is an XYZ company from US and you actually buy an insurance policy from US, there is no possibility of a guaranteed return. Then you're depending on US economy. US economy will not care for you. You are not their citizens. So US economy will say, bankrupt, go bankrupt, I don't care. It's a capitalist economy any which way. So it's like nothing but investments now. It is technically no insurance. So foreign in FDI and insurance is a very critical sector, very critical message. But we are trying to say let's open it to US. The reason why this is happening is because there have been very clear indications by the US government to say if you do not open up your economy for US and India, we will also put 300% tariffs on your products to be sold in US. That's exactly what is the deal. So this is that deal which is being measured and conveyed to you guys. Okay, this is how you interpret things. So you have to learn to read between the lines. You have to understand what is happening. Bihar क्यों दिया? ये क्यों दिया? कोई भी चीज क्यों हो रही है? So this is not just to keep you happy. It is of course to create headlines also. But there are hidden agendas behind each of them. But that's about it from my side.
I personally wanted to know your opinion on the investment friendliness index. So, what do you think which state would be on the top?
Investment friendliness index of states. I think couple of states. I think Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat also. But I think these are three states in my view who will do good. And what is coming along, which is those which are, and after this, probably the other states will catch up, and which is a good thing to happen. The states which are trying to catch up, in my opinion, would be Uttarakhand and UP.
Why not Rajasthan?
You want my political opinion on Rajasthan? I think Rajasthan is a very inert state. So my opinion is that Rajasthan's politics is very inert. It is not active. We miss Haryana. Haryana में बहुत limited है. Haryana is not an investment. कुछ बहुत particular छोटे-छोटे areas हैं हरियाणा में. So गुड़गांव तो रेवाड़ी के बीच का ही industrial section है. बाकी कुछ भी नहीं है वहाँ पे. The rest of the section is more agriculture driven. So investment friendliness index वहाँ पे नहीं है. But Rajasthan की politics मेरे हिसाब से up till now it was always a conflict. सेंटर में अगर कुछ है तो राजस्थान में कुछ और होगा. तो अगर सेंटर में बीजेपी तो राजस्थान में कांग्रेस. You'll be on unfriendly terms. Now what we have is the same government, but then the state government technically has nothing to do now. So it has become like central driven. So it is now center driven, and while it is center driven, the center is not taking note of Rajasthan yet, is what I feel, because they are feeling that let it be 5 more years. So it's gone down, and it is not on the target hit list. I'll tell you the bigger problem with Rajasthan. We have very few Lok Sabha seats. We have only 25 seats. Right? So our number of seats and our allocation in the entire Lok Sabha is much lower than the rest of the states. So UP or Bihar contribute way more seats than Rajasthan. Let it be a large area. Our seats are very small, less in number. So हमारा number of seat allocation कम है, इसलिए हमारी value उतनी कम है. और उस वजह से उनको लगता है इतना ही पैसा खर्च करने से काम हो जाता है. Plus यहाँ की political dynamics थोड़ी अलग है. So that is why Rajasthan is a neglected state. Truly, honestly, I feel that center has always neglected Rajasthan. Maybe बढ़ जाए. I am hoping, but not sure. Yes. Any other opinions on the budget? Anybody wants to discuss, talk, or any opinions? I am happy. Otherwise, I am done. Yes. कोई भी और कुछ भी और thought है, कुछ और discuss करना है budget से related. Got a gist of the thought process? Would you like to now read the budget or listen to the budget speech every year? Yes.
As you mentioned that a certain policy that was invested was to keep Trump happy, right? That was your insight reading. So are there any more insights that you might like to share that might not be displayed on paper, but how it is?
So I'll tell you something very interesting. I got to know and read about it. Government is now thinking about marine. And marine life, defense is one part which has always been there. Priority sector, always priority sector, will always remain. Marine sector, India is number 2 biggest producer of fishes in the world. And I'll tell you what is happening. So do you realize we are in disputes with Mauritius, somewhat with Sri Lanka, somewhat with China recently, which means you would want to fix up your supremacy on water. And this is war for water.
We'll allocate 25,000 crores.
For maritime development. So which means, how do you do maritime development? By expanding your shores, by expanding your business in the sea. So you want to do sea expansion now, right? And that's how I see this one part of the entire budget, which is let's go further into the sea, because that's what China is doing. China is no longer looking at territorial ground territories, but looking at sea territories. They are putting their, observatories, they are putting up their docking centers in the sea, and that kind of create an observatory for them.
Is this just for like power, as in control?
Not just, but some part. We are also realizing, see, fishing business is a big business. We can do it. We have a huge coastline. We have got huge fisheries. Let's take advantage of that. So that is what. So one part of the story is business and good growth and whatever. But this is also a hidden agenda to this extent, or this would be another implication of this, that you would expand your, sea control over the sea and over this side. So you are expanding. What do you do by doing this? By increasing maritime development, you will create more ports. You will do better shipping. You will expand your shipping movements. With your shipping movements, more ports, more activities on the ports, you are going to increase business, trade, control, growth, everything. And more control like that is going to, I would say, and they are trying to reduce duties also. Cutting down the import duties also. So they will kind of make some ports which will be very, very, trade friendly. And that's the vision.
Exporting would be cheaper.
Exporting, importing both would become easier. So importing would be easier, exporting would become cheaper. And they would want to do both of them with those. But maritime, of course, export is the vision. India wants to now, see, India has no choice but to increase exports. So it's trying to identify, Makhana is another area which we can export. By only domestic consumption. We are looking for now items which can be exported from India. And that is one thing which definitely comes to my mind. So this is one area which is the agenda which I can see. Agriculture, definitely the thought process is to make people happy, right? Say we're going to do rural development. They've understood that urban development, there is a saturation, population is less, rural pe thoda dhyan dena chahiye. That's the other thought process that I can say. But yeah, that's it. These are the only insights which I can, decipher at the moment. Anybody else wants to make any other comments? Done? Shall we wrap up the session? Okay, thank you so much. Have a lovely day. It was super fun. And let's give a big round of thank you to Kshitij. Thank you.